varsity squad as he was just pitching so well. It's been so fun to watch him this summer. And the guy that's been really fun to watch during the summer years, especially in 2016, was the guy that's joining me on the headset right now, two-time World Series champion and 2016 World Series MVP, Ben Zobrist.
Oh, wow. Thank you. What an introduction. This is incredible.
Well, you deserve an introduction with the accolades you've had, and we can't thank you enough for coming out to Spearfish. How's it been since you've made your way out here?
You know what? Best team, town, and mascot in all of baseball right here, Spearfish Sasquatch. I was super excited when I just found that out, right? But also, I can't remember if I've ever actually been to South Dakota and, like, planted my feet there. I may have driven a car through.
Yeah.
But to be here, I love the atmosphere, love the hills, the Black Hills, and you know, the wide open spaces. But man, the people have been really kind too. Love it.
And we talk about it whenever we have guests up in the press box. So I'm from Minnesota. I go to school in Iowa. So to me, these look like mountains.
Oh, yeah.
So we call them mountain hills because to me, those are a lot bigger than hills. Fly ball to the left, that'll drop in.
I would have to agree, being from Illinois. This is much bigger than anything I saw growing up. So, yeah, these are mountains to me.
Have you been able to do a little sightseeing yet in Spearfish?
Not yet. The plan is tomorrow. So if you want to try to catch me, I might be at Mount Rushmore.
There you go.
I'm either going there or Spearfish Canyon.
Both really good spots.
I heard.
Hopefully Spearfish Canyon is cleared up.
That's double play ball. No. Oh, there's 2 outs. Okay, sorry.
Porter
not
will
paying that close of attention.
All good. Clay Porter makes the final out, and Caleb Hoppy has another scoreless inning. It's 5-1. Don't go anywhere. We've got a full interview with Ben Zobrist coming your way right after this. Welcome back to Black Hills Energy Stadium, and up in the press box we have 2016 World Series MVP Ben Zobrist. Now, Zobrist, I got to ask, you have your World Series ring on, but it's
a replica.
It's a replica of it.
I got to be careful when I'm flying places. I'm a little nervous of taking it, but this is it's got my name and number. It still looks exactly like the other one, and it blings in the sun, and the sun is sure out today. So
it really is.
It's a little gaudy for me, to be honest. I would only wear it at appearances like this.
So was that something that you got right away when you got your World Series ring, or is it something that you got down the road?
It came down the road. I found out that when they started making some replicas, it happened to be my name and number. And there was actually one time where somebody was trying to sell, saying that it was the actual one. Oh. Because some of the replicas that were made had my name and number on them. So I'm like, well, that works for me. But then the problem is if they think that it's my actual ring, you know. So it wasn't, thankfully. I've got that one in the safe. But when I heard that, my agent called and said, hey, you still have your ring, right? I'm like, I'm pretty sure.
I sure hope so.
I went back to the safe and looked. I'm like, yep, it's there.
It's still there. It's still safe and locked up.
Yeah. Somebody didn't steal it in the middle of the night and take it and put it on the black market.
That would have been a crazy way to find out, too.
Yeah.
Well, it's been really fun to have you out here so far, and you got a chance to talk with both teams, actually, before the game, and something that you have gotten into since retiring from your playing days is working on the mental health side, especially with players at the major league level. And we couldn't help but talk about it afterwards, how much that applies not just to the players on the field, but for just life in general. How fun has it been for you to enter that different stage of your career?
Well, it's extremely fulfilling. I mean, I think we all deal with, before we knew it was mental health, we dealt with stress, right? We called it stress, and if it was really stressful, then it was, you start having some anxiety around it. I had a couple of times during my career where I was anxious and depressed. And one time, actually, it's surprising to people, but was right after the World Series when we won, because it was a super, super high, and then I had a lot of expectation on me after that. And it really just felt very heavy, even though it was all good stuff, right? And so one of the things I learned after I retired, I went into some mental health organizations and just got on their board and started learning about what the issues are right now and how I could help out. And I just realized, it's not what everybody else thinks should be trauma for you. It's what you're experiencing, right? And so just because these guys are young and healthy, great play by the third baseman, by the way.
And a good pick on the back end as well.
that was tough because that ball was hit hard down the line too.
That's Wilson Kiefer. He's been battling injuries this summer, but a great play from Louis Coca and Hart down at first base.
So what I was saying is these guys are young and healthy, and they got their whole lives ahead of them. But there's a lot of pressure on them too. And high school and college athletes now are dealing with a lot of this mental challenges because of the money that's being infused in the youth game. NIL has changed a lot of things, and it's really monetized youth sports. So, man, and then you add the social media component, which I didn't have growing up, and they're just dealing with a lot more challenges than we had to deal with as they're trying to rise through the circuit. So, my nonprofit Champion Forward really tries to meet some of those needs and develop some tools around that.
And I think that is absolutely conversation, like you said, with the NIL and social media. There are 16, 17, 18-year-olds that are being treated like professional athletes that have to be asked a lot of those harder questions, that are going through a lot more of that spotlight stuff that you yourself went through after the World Series and, of course, your major league career. So I think it's really cool to hear that someone like yourself is going out there and helping these kids find that way to find stress or find relief in the stress and find relief in all of the spotlights that they're being put under.
Well, that's the most fulfilling thing once you get beyond the game. You love to play the game, but then to stay around it and find a way to support the players that are still in it in ways that are really needed is a really fulfilling thing to do, right? So, I mean, even all the support staff around this team, it's really fulfilling when you see it all come together and you see smiling people enjoying it in the community. You see the players getting a chance to showcase what their abilities are and try to get to the next level. And that's what we love about sports. It's a little bit of a crucible for the players to learn about themselves and figure out how good they can be down the road. But it's for the rest of us, it's entertainment. We get a chance to watch these guys.
It's been really entertaining this summer to watch this team. Border flies out to center as the bobble catch is made by Cole Borda, and that will end the bottom of the fourth. Still 5-1. Squatch have the lead going into the fifth inning. We'll stay here in the break. Now, obviously, we can't have you up here and not ask about the World Series. I mean, being in that situation, it's a kid's dream.
Let's talk about it, yeah.
What was that moment like when you do it?
I got to play in 3 different World Series, right? And the first time was with Tampa Bay and Philly. We lost in 5 games, and I started one of the games. I came in and pinch hit in the last inning of the last game, and really was nervous about making the last out. Thankfully I didn't. I made the second to last out. But when you fail in those situations, you feel. And I had a lot of playoff games where I failed too. And then I got some chances later in my career with Kansas City in 2015, and then Chicago with 2016 to win and see what that feels like at the end of it all. And I was part of great teams. Whenever you're a part of a team like that, both of those teams, just being in that atmosphere and seeing how all the links of the team come together and seeing how functional that environment is when you've been on some tougher teams at times, that's what you really enjoy. The whole season feels fun because you're winning a lot more than you're losing. And when I won with Kansas City, it was, okay, I've won a World Series, now what?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, why not try to win the 108-year one that hasn't
teed up, won, right?
Yeah. and Joe Madden was there, who was my former manager in Tampa Bay. So I was like, now it's a chance to win one with Joe and bring it to the city of Chicago, which happens to be Illinois is my home state. So I got to go 2.5 hours away from home, and boy, what a ride that was. And
you've had a lot of those. It feels like full circle moments for you, and I know the story's been told quite a bit, where you weren't drafted out of high school, you weren't getting looked at by a lot of colleges, you went to a tryout, made the team, and just continued to fight your way through baseball. And for a lot of guys, and even guys on this team right now, who it feels like they've hit so many roadblocks, and for a lot of guys, they have people in their ears saying, it's time to go and join the real world, go get a real job. Why for you did you continue to push through and fight your way to the big leagues? Why did you never decide to hang it up?
I really, to be honest, there were times where I thought maybe I would, but it wasn't like after high school, because I didn't have an opportunity. It was the people around me that, like my high school coach who believed in me, who said, hey, I think you should go to this scout day over here. And then it was the college coach that saw me there that said, hey, why don't you come over here to our school? And then it was the guy that drafted me out of Houston. And then it was Rusty Pendergrass, is his name. And then there's, gosh, I mean, I could go down the line and all the people, when you feel like maybe it's the end of the road, the people that plug into you and say, here's what you need to do next. Here's what I would do if I were you. When they see the light in you, and then they give you that encouragement, man, that means the world, right? And I think that I've always had people doing that in my life. So I can't take credit for picking myself up. I think I had a lot of other people that did that for me.
Well, it certainly helps when you have those people in your corner, and I can tell you right now, there's a lot of kids on this field right now that have had those moments where maybe it is time to hang it up, but they have people in their corner that tell him to come back out for one more season. We've talked about Seth Nelson. He's 25 years old, playing his last collegiate summer season, and he thought about becoming a coach this summer, hanging it up and calling it quits. But he had people in his corner, his coaches, including Justice Scott, who's in the dugout right now, say, we'd love to have you come out for one more season.
Yeah.
Whether it's because of your bat or just your leadership, and it's been a great summer. And, of course, now, for Spearfish, this is the first time that this team has won the first half in program history. So it's really worked out for these guys.
That's incredible. Yeah, you've got to have those veterans. You've got to have those guys that have been there before and, provide that sense of stability and, for the young guys to look up to, right? And then you've got to have a mix of every different part of the team. You got to have guys that are able to step into different positions they may be uncomfortable with, and when you win, it's like it covers everything. It feels like it's not tough to come to the ballpark. It's like a fun thing to come to the ballpark because you really every day you start believing you're gonna win.
Well, you were a guy that had to step into a lot of different positions as well. You played, I want to say, almost every single position on the field. And I know in high school you were primarily a shortstop and a pitcher. But when did you start to move around and learn all these different positions and play them at the highest level?
Well, I did it a little bit in college from going, I did pitch some in college and played some shortstop and second. But it was in Tampa Bay when I had kind of failed with the bat a little bit, and they were bouncing me up and down between AAA and the big leagues, and I really had to figure out if I was a big league hitter or not. And Joe came to me before spring training. He called me up. He said, hey, Zoe, I want you to bring an outfield glove. I want you to bring a first base glove. I want you, if you need a different glove for third base, I want you to bring that. Who knows? We might even throw you behind the dish. I don't know. He said, but just be ready. He said, I think that's your best chance to get in the lineup to get some at-bats. And he knew that that's what needed to happen eventually. And I said, okay, if that's what gives me the opportunity to hit at that level, and maybe gets me more chances in the big leagues, that's the name of the game. How can I help this big league club? And they said, this is how you do it. And I said, all right, let's give it a shot. And yet, was I uncomfortable? Of course I was. You have to be willing to get uncomfortable, step into situations that you aren't the most confident in, and get there. Take time and just work on one thing at a time, right? And I fortunately had great coaches there and great teammates that really made that easy.
Did he at least provide you some catcher's gear when he said that you might have to get behind the dish?
No, he was like, I'm just throwing this out there. It could happen.
Yeah. It's genuinely all nine.
Yeah.
Well, were there any opportunities that you got to pitch on the mound since you did have the experience?
I'm glad you asked that.
Here we go.
The last I didn't pitch at all in Pro Bowl at all. I got drafted. I feel like I'm talking and we're not. You don't even know what's happening in the game. So.
It's all good.
But there was a strike right there.
Yeah, Hoppy pumps a strike. He's been great.
Yeah, it's like I'd be such a great color commentary. Strike.
Hold on, wait a minute. He comes. Set. Yep. It's all you.
And the pitch. Here it is. A little high. To number 18, who is.
Hold on, let me flip the page for you.
Okay.
Hold on. I've even been bad. Here you go.
Cole,
if you can read it.
It's Cole Barta.
I'm glad my handwriting's good enough for you to read.
Where was I? What was I talking about? I
Pitching.
forgot.
Pitching.
Oh yeah. So I pitched a little bit in college, got drafted, never pitched at all. Last game of my career.
Wow.
2019, we were out of the playoffs. Joe took all the starters out of the game in the 5th because we were getting boat raced. It was like 11-2 or something like that. And Joe's like, he knew it could be my last game. He came and he said, hey, what do you want to do? And I was like, I'm staying in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I said, wherever you need me. I said, but when we get to the bottom of the 8th, it was in St. Louis against the Cardinals. We get to the bottom of the 8th, I want it. I want the mound. And he's like, all right, you got it. And then like an inning later, he's like, I'll get somebody ready.
Just in case.
I'll get somebody ready. And I was like, no.
Oh, here we go. Aiden Wirtz, our producer, director, part-time color commentator, and researcher. Yeah. He pulled it up for us.
I walked a couple guys. Then I got Marcell Ozuna to pop up. Edmund had lined out. And then we get to Yachty.
Wow.
Yachty Molina.
You got Yachty Molina to strike out.
Him out on the changeup below the hitting speed.
Wow.
Right, and he just stood there, hands on the hips, shook his head like, I can't believe this. And that was the last thing I did on a Major League field. So
struck
I was like,
out
you know
a future Hall of Famer.
Exactly. Future Hall of Famer. Struck him out. All the pitchers rolled their eyes. And, I ride off into the sunset.
There's no better way to ride off into the sunset. I mean, where's that rank in your moments? That's got to be pretty high.
Up there. I was like, wow, I can't believe that just happened. So it was definitely a fun way to go out.
Well, I guess now you're on a short list of guys who struck out Yachty or Molina.
I am. You know what? He was tough to strike out during his career.
He was fantastic. Here's a high fly ball to right center, giving chase as Hansen. It's over his head. One run comes in to score. Another is right behind him. And Cole Barta delivers a 2-run double in the top of the 5th inning, and it's 5-3. Good swing from Barta to keep the Bison in this ball game.
Was that a slider?
It might have been.
Looked like maybe a slider at the top.
Well, Hoppy's been dealing all night so far. I lost track of the strikeouts. I got distracted a little bit up here. If there's some reason why that would have happened.
Yeah, well, we'll blame it on Samson down there.
There we go.
Sasquatch.
He came up here for a little bit, said hi.
Getting the crowd up for it right now.
I mean, have you ever seen a mascot with that much hair on its head?
You know what? There's a lot of different hair on mascots around the league. He looks. I feel like he should ride in on a Harley.
Now we're talking. Eric's listening. Samson? Eric's listening. I think that might be next on the budget.
I feel like he just needs a little bit. Maybe put some Harley boots on him, and
there we go.
And some of those finger gloves. Fingerless gloves.
Have him rip up the outfield before the game starts.
Oh man. Okay, maybe not that. We need the outfield.
As long as we're coming up with ideas.
He can stay in the dirt. Go around the bases once.
There we go. He needs to get one of those side bys as well, so he can take
sidecar.
Yeah, like a sidecar, so we can get a fan out there. Get a fan out there.
Yeah.
Then you're making some money off of it.
There you go. That's
See?
That's the marketing.
Look, now he's liking it.
Marketing genius there.
Then you can have a logo on the side.
Yeah,
if you ever need any more marketing ideas, Eric, you got 2 guys right here.
I'm all about it.
Love it.
We got to. You got to find new ways. I mean, the banana ball thing is real, right?
Yeah,
it's real. I'm going to be honest. I don't love the competitive side because I'm like, is it really a competition when you kind of have to, interrupt the game for lots of weird things?
It's really. I've never watched a full game. I've seen the highlights, but number one question with the banana ball is it competitive? And they have more than 2 teams. It's not like the Harlem Globetrotters where they're playing the same team every time. But from what I've understood, they have 4 or 5 different teams that they play against. But you're right, you're stopping play so much with all the shenanigans. It makes it really fun. But then how do you keep the competitive drive when you're trying to do a flip every time you make a catch?
I don't know. I guess you got to be thinking about do I really want to do the real tricky thing right here when we're trying to win the game?
Yeah. Do I go for the back flip with the catch, or do I go for the catch?
I think we're going to see. There's a bunt, foul back to the screen. I think we're going to see Major League players eventually doing things like for home run celebrations, if they can do a flip, they'll like hit a home run and then do a flip on the way to first base.
You think you could have ever done that?
No, I couldn't do it. But like Ozzie used to go run out to his position and do that flip, right? So Ozzie Smith. And so I don't think it's out of the realm of, I mean, eventually there's going to be a little merging of the best players in the world doing some fun things on the field.
I think that would be sweet. I mean, bringing back the Ozzie Smith flip would be fantastic. That's one of the coolest things that's ever happened.
Somebody needs to do it. You know there's some acrobatic dudes out there that could do it. Kevin Kiermaier used to be able to do it standing straight up. Yeah, he was an incredible athlete.
Slow roller to short, no play for Foyer, and that will load up the bases. An infield single brings up Gannon Hall. Well, now we've got a big spot for the Bison. Looks like Justice Scott's going to make the call down to the bullpen. Caleb Hoppy's been great, but has run into some trouble in this fifth inning. He's let up 2 runs, and his night is done. We'll introduce the new pitcher when he makes his way out here. But Zobrist, we can't thank you enough for joining us up here. I know you've got a lot of fans that want to meet you down there, but it's been fantastic to hear more about your story and what you're doing, but also to come with some fun marketing ideas for the Sasquatch in the future.
Oh, man, this has been a great visit, and it sounds like you guys know what you're doing up here. So
trying our best.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Appreciate you. All right, 5-3, new pitcher when we come back. You're watching the Squatch and the Bison live on YouTube.